Today's lesson is inverse variation. Our objectives are to solve inverse variation and compare direct and inverse variation. So, a lesson we learned before was direct variation. Now, the equation to that was y equals kx, and to find k, you would divide y divided by x. Now, that's a little different than inverse variation. A function in the form of xy, so you're going to multiply the x and y, which equals k, or you can write it y equals k over x, where again, k does not equal 0. Now, the constant of the variation, again, the constant is the number that remains the same, and that would be k, the product of x times y for an ordered pair. And let's discuss it. Suppose y varies. So again, remember, for your inverse variation, it would go x times y equals k. So write the equation for the inverse variation. So first, you need to find out what k equals. K always has a number attached, with the x and y, when we're finished, should not have one. So it would go 5 times 7 equals k. 5 times 7 is 35. So your answer will look like this. X, y equals 35. And that's all you're doing. So again, you do 2 times 9, x times y equals k. So 18 equals k. So your answer would be xy equals 18. C, why don't you try C by yourself? So your answer for C would be xy equals 18. Same as B. 3 times 6 is 18. So, alright. Now we're going to do each pair of points on the graphs of an inverse variation. Find the missing value. So I'm going to teach you a formula really quickly for finding a missing number on two sets of variables. It would be x1 times y1 equals x2 times y2. Now they give you two sets of ordered pairs, so you would have x1, let's see if I haven't, x1, y1, x2, y2. So we could do the formula. Using the formula, we can find out what y equals on A. So I would do 3 times 8 equals 2 times y. 3 times 8 is 24 equals 2y. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Well, that's a 2. Y equals 12. And there's your answer. And that's how you would do this math. I'll have you do B, but let's try C together. This one has decimals. So I would go 75 times 0.2 equals 3x, because you're multiplying those two. 75 times 0.2 is 15 equals 3x. Divide by 3. So x would equal 5. Why don't you try B by yourself? Put me on pause, check and see afterwards if you got it correct. Your answer should be 15. Y equals 15. All right, let's try another one. I think I have to fix some problems, some information on this word problem. So, we have the weight needed to balance a lever varies inversely with the distance from the fulcrum of the weight. Now, a fulcrum is, if you look at this triangle on this lever, this is your fulcrum right here, where the triangle hits the balance beam. With the distance from, where should Julio, who weighs 150 pounds, where should he sit? So this one I don't know the answer to, so I'm going to make that X. So his friend, who is 120 pounds, is 6 feet away from the fulcrum. How far does Julio have to be? So this is your X and Y's on one side and your X and Y's on the other. So I would do 120 times 6 equals 150 X. I would do my math. 720 equals 150 X. Divide by 150. And that's 4.8. He needs to be about 4.8 feet away from the fulcrum. So the bigger you are, the more weight, the closer you are to the fulcrum. Example 4. Do the data in each table represent a direct variation or an inverse variation? So K would equal Y over X, and K would equal X times Y. You two want to get it attention, and it's on video right now that I'm saying this.
I was just sitting here.
That is Judah and Jeremy, just letting you know that now.
Judah, throw it at me first.
Uh-huh. Okay, so I'm going to do the easy one. I'm going to do the inverse variation. That's the X times Y. So I'm going to go 2 times 5, 4 times 10, and 10 times 25. And that equals 10, 40, and 250. So they're not the same, so it's not inverse variation. So we're going to try Y over X. So 5 over 2, 10 over 4, and 25 over 10. I would just reduce the fractions as much as possible. So 5 halves is 5 halves. This one's 5 halves. And this one's 5 halves. So that is an direct variation. So you would say direct variation. And you would write the equation y equals 5 halves x. Okay, let's try B. You would do 5 times 20, 10 times 10, 25 times 4. That's 100, that's 100, and that's 100. So that's inverse variation. So you would say inverse variation. And that would be 100 equals ky. xy, sorry, xy. All right. Let's see if I have any more for you. Yes, I do. Lots more. Example 5. Explain what... Oh, I'm not going to do this one with you, so don't worry about it. Goodbye.